I'm Ben. Now, this tip is part 2 of my homemade accessories. Most of my accessories, I have tips on making them, and I want to show most of them on these 2 tips, and this is it. Now, when I bought my Harrison, there was a few things wasn't on it, but there was one was a fixed steady. I searched for maybe 18 months on flea markets, car boot sales, etc., and I thought I was going to have to buy a brand new one, but one day at a flea market I found this, and I thought I could make a fixed steady out of it, and this is the result of what I got. Now this is it. It was just a circle and it was on this piece here. Now the feet, there will only be stumps about 3/4 of an inch. I had to replace them, so all new brass feet for to meet up. I had to cut it, hinge it, and I had to hinge it and make a base for it with the V for to suit my lathe, and it works fine. These meet, and it does the job. There was maybe not even a 3/4 of an inch, just wee stumps, so I had to replace the 3 feet and hinge it. Now I just have a couple of things to mention about my homemade mill that I haven't mentioned before. This. Now I had to mill a piece down here flat for my 2 screws, for I pressed the shaft home. It had to be pressed, tighten the screws to keep it true before I weld it. Now this plate, I have referred it a couple of times about 1/2 inch plate. It's not, it's 30 mil in English, inch and 1/8. Now how it came about, how I got it, I will explain now. Now the plate is 16 inches by 18 inches by 1.125", 30 mil. And how it came about, how I got this, was we got a new crusher at work, and there was a large plate came. It was 3 meters by about 4 meters, and that was at 30 mil thick for the bed for to set the crusher on. Now 3 pieces had to be cut out of it. 2 pieces that size that I have, and 1 long strip about maybe 4 or 5 foot for the material to stick through. Now those 2 bits were for there was two what you would call large feet sat down into where these came off, and they were bolted down onto that, 4 bolts on each one, and the pieces came up to the workshop, and that's how I ended up with that. Now these are the tools, accessories that I made. Now I haven't a tape on making this, for I made it before I got my camera. I bought this as a stump. I had to clean it all up. So it was just a rough casting. Cleaned it. I had to make the jaws. I have 2 sets of jaws actually, a spare set, and the handle. Cut this piece out for the go down in for the turn my handle. These goes onto my table on the mill. I just bought this, I forget what I paid for it. I think it was at that time £3 I think, but I made the jaws etc. and that. A very handy vise, very handy. Now here is another. I fell in with this somewhere, I don't, EW, I can't remember where, but that is a very powerful little magnet I put on. Made this stand. It's all tightened up. Clock. This is one I would use on my lathe. Very nice, very powerful little magnet. Look at that, shaking the table. Now here is something I made many years ago before I put my homemade milling machine together. A rise and fall table for the lathe. That I can swivel it. Direct rising. Vise. I actually made a little spare vise for it. I made both of them. And this table, this can be took off and the table used for other things for the lathe or whatever. Now recently I have seen on someone's tape something similar. I would be pleased if it was a relation to this, but that's, and I made a small spare handle. There's a queer weight on it actually. That was my rise and fall table. These 2 bolts onto the lathe, the Harrison. I have tip. I think I have a tip on making it, but I have tip on using it. But I think I have a tip on making it. Handy tool. Now that was before I put my homemade mill together. So it worked out nicely. As I said before, I put my homemade milling together. I was on a cup of coffee. Now here is a stand and a roller I made for my saw. Look at that bubble right in the center. This is for cutting long work. And here is another tool I made for my chain blower. Now here is a turntable I put together, the holes for to bolt it down, the gears, handy tool, and it has got the divisions marked out on it. Another tool I'm pleased with. Now here is a tool I needed, a quick little vise for a couple of jobs, for drilling, moving them about, sifting them in and out. I had this little vise, so I put it together with this, able to clamp it onto my drill, which proved very handy at the time, and it was worth keeping as it is for doing little awkward jobs. A nice handy little vise. All I needed was a bit of angle. Done the job nicely. Now this is another tool I've put together. It has come in nice and handy a few times, and this is it. Now this is it. This is another wee table I can use on my mill or drill. I can bolt it down. I have one on the other side for bolting it. 8-inch table, this one, gip strips. I have 3 screws in this, tightening it up. I made this little table on this milling machine. That's how pleased I am with this mill. Now this is not the only part I have for it. Now I can screw this table off, take this table. I made a square table for it also, for doing different jobs. These are the lock screws for the gip strip. T-slots. I can screw this on, this table off, this one on. Nice job. Now I can have it this way also. I can use these on my drill, this table. Now here is another tool I made. I knew someone was starting up selling scrap and that, and he brought that into me at work. Asked me if I could make use of it. I wasn't going to turn it down. Now, I think he charged me £12 for it, but it was worth every penny. So I came home, I made the table for it. Now that has come in handy time after time. No doubt that's a very useful tool for a drill. Now I'm going to show a few small tools that I made a lot of years ago, and I've seen these in an old tool magazine that I had. Where the magazine is today I don't know, but I made these tools and here they are. Now these are small tools I seen in that tool catalogue many years ago that I made. This is one. I have feet that goes in here off another putter, but they fit this 2 or 4. So I've used it once, this one. Now, and here is another tool I made. I seen this in the catalogue, but I've never used it. I don't know what they advertised it for, what jobs, but I haven't used it. Now here is a tool I made also. Seen this? Now I have used this. It came in handy when I was working at a Ford Anglia that I was driving at the time, and I was doing a lot of work to it, and this came in handy. The part put down into this, and I had to press another part onto it and they done the job. You can see it might be a little bit on the bent side for the pressure, but it was handy at the time, very handy, and it done a good job for the Ford Anglia that I was driving. Now that's going back quite a few years. Now here is something else I made. Now this wasn't in the book. I made this. For this actually I was going to put a bushing in it, but instead I came up with one just to press the shaft into. I have 2 screws in it to keep it tight, but that was for that. But I'll not say it has gone to waste. It might come in handy for something. Now here is something I forgot to draw your attention to. It's about my turntable. It was the gears. Now they are off an old hand drill that I bought in a flea market. I think I paid £2 for it, but it was the gears I wanted for this. I have a drawer full of small gears, except for I gathered them up over the years, but I wouldn't throw these small gears away. And it works nice. I have a grease nipple on it for the suit. That's the gears. Does the job nicely. Now I'm just going to show one of my drawers that I have my gear wheels. Now this is the gear wheels I've gathered up over the years. There's quite a few, all different shapes, sizes. Different flea markets, car boot sales. I've gathered these up out of small gear wheels never go to waste. Look at the size of these. Look. I have another drawer, but they are all large gear wheels in it. But small gear wheels never goes to waste. I just thought I would show this lot, for if you come across gear wheels, hold on to them. You might have them for years, but they would come in handy sometime. Now here is a tool I put together for welding jobs. It's I have two sets of jaws for it. Now putting it together, I welded this on the inside, not on the outside, and my bushing with a grease nipple that I can keep it grazed and good sturdy 3-jaw chuck, prot, does the job. The base, I can clamp the base onto my bench or wherever I want to weld, do welding jobs. Made the back plate for the suit. handy tool. It means the chuck's not going to waste either. It's sturdy. It's welded well on the inside. Just over 3.25, 6 inch. For welding. Now in part 1 I showed a couple of sets of tools that I made for threading with the dies on the lathe. So thinking about it, I decided to make a tool for the thread with the tops on the lathe, and this is it. But I'm enjoying a cup of tea this time. Now this is what I came up with. This tool is a nice powerful little spring, Morse 2 taper, which I had to shim it with 4 washers to give me exact height. Now just drop this down through my ways, turn it, and that's it tightened. I made this tool for another job, but I don't need it for that now, so I used it for this. And I can use reamers or plain reamers in the chuck, but for threading tops, a nice powerful little spring. It keeps the tension on the top when you're threading. There's a fair weight on it. Now that is it. Now here is a tool every workshop needs. A seat. Little bits of scrap. Does my job nicely. Every workshop needs a seat. Last but not least, not forgetting my little trolley. I have a job for this seat. I want to make a tape on it, so that's it. You'll have to excuse me, for I'm just getting over a bad cold. Now that is tape number 2 of my homemade shop accessories. I have shown most of them. I want to thank you for looking and watching. I hope some of you have found them interesting, or some of them interesting, and please go to my website, go to Benny Marner. I want to thank you for your comments. Thank you for looking and watching. This is Ben. Thanks again for watching.